All right, top of the morning, or bottom of the day. I don't know where you are. Where am I? I am getting this guy sorted out now. This massive foot switch for this bug. And we're gonna switch angles here. It's not a good one. Be right back. All right, is that better? Well, of course it is. What are we doing? Now, an update on your Mark IV. On your Mark IV there, buddy. So, we've recapped her. I recapped it. Went through the tube sockets, the jacks, the switches, the whole thing. I'm going to do a deep clean on the cabinet right after this part. I want to get this guy clean. I love these. I love, it's nostalgia, but it's also the sound. These Mark IVs are incredibly hard to dial in if you don't have time. So if you're an opening act, and ask me how I know, and you have no time for sound check, the settings that work great for you from the prior weekend's gig in that room are not gonna work in the next room, and you better know. You better know exactly what you're doing. Where am I at? I'm supposed to monitor this thing, but I can't. You guys are messing up my workflow. That's okay. You guys are messing my workflow up. What are we doing? Yes, you are. I can be white again. All right. Let's clean this guy up. I think I was saying that there's a lot of sentimental attachment between me and this particular model of Boogie. And it goes all the way back to high school. There was, when I was getting into guitar, this amp was on the inside cover of every album that I was just listening to nonstop. Every tape. The Mesa Boogie logo was on the inside, and then of course, being the flagship, this amp was it. So there was a rich kid at school, and I grew up in a small town outside of New Orleans, Louisiana. But there was a rich dude whose dad, it was his dad was rich. His dad was a doctor. Didn't really pay attention to his kid, but just gave him everything he wanted. The dude didn't invest any time into playing guitar, but his dad bought him a Mesa Boogie half stack, the one with the cabinet that's it's half open, and it had the what was it, like the electro voice on the top, and then the black shadows or whatever speaker du jour Mesa were using at the time on the bottom. Or I probably flipped that around. And dude just got frustrated and just sold it really cheap to one of my friends who just started his own business. He was doing like a car detailing or a tent shop. Dude named Russell. He's probably a chef now. And I hope he is, because that was his thing back in the day, and I haven't talked to that dude in forever. So Russell had it parked at his house, and he had it dialed in, man. And I came over there one of the first times I went by his house, and he had it dialed in, and I was just unbelievably impressed with the tones he was getting. I didn't know the work that went into it. I just knew that he wouldn't let you touch the settings for obvious reason. You weren't going to touch those settings, and that was why, wasn't it? That was exactly why. Let me, I want to open this up. I want to open this guy up and see what's in there. Morbid curiosity? Not really. I want to make sure. I want to make sure that everything's nice in here. Angelo, you're getting the best possible service you can get. Because I've had this come around to bite me. If I didn't check everything, it always comes back. So I learned a long time ago that if you have it, you check it. So that's it. I'm gonna get in here and I'm gonna clean all these switches, and I'm gonna make sure that the terminations on this cable are solid, because I want her to work perfectly. Sounds like you're gonna be gigging again. Lucky you. Lucky you, buddy. And I wish you the best on that. Some self-tapping screws here. I don't like that, but I mean, it's hell, a fender. That's what Leo was using on his circuit boards and his tube sockets and everything else. He was using self-tapping screws. And if you're careful, I don't know if this is aluminum or not. I'm not going to do the magnet test. I don't have time. All right. How deep am I going to go is the question. Am I going to loosen these guys up and then drop the circuit board? I can clean it from the top, that's for sure. And I'll just inspect the solder joints back here and make any touch-ups as needed. It's not malfunctioning. And I'll clean up these little Molex connectors. But I'll make sure all your guys are tight there. So that's all I really wanted to see. Let's see. So let's get in there. And this will evaporate really fast. Look at that. So this looks really nice on the inside. And then the reason why your the inside of your chassis was so coated with dust was because obviously there's a forced induction scenario going on with that fan. And that's okay. Though it's not really necessary. Not on that amp. I mean, you're looking at twin reverb levels of power, you know, and those twins did just fine. Cramped chassis, yeah, but the tubes are spaced well enough. Sufficient airflow. So, why do it? Just ever so small amount of dust. And if you guys out there who aren't familiar with this particular amp, if you're curious about what these are, right here, I can't wait to show you. It's so cool. So you have to give credit where it's due. And that's what I'm gonna do. So these joints look great. Good job, Randall. On this bit anyway. Nice work. Some of these LEDs look like that's as far as they're gonna protrude, so well, that's okay. We can settle on that. We can settle on that and agree that that's as good as it's gonna get. So with this stuff, I like to get the center fastener put in first. And it should maintain alignment for the other ones. That way you're not fighting the plate versus the actual tapped holes there. You're not going to strip out that aluminum, if that's what that is. All right. Yeah, God, I miss mine. I miss my Mark IV in a nostalgic way. It's like the car that you fell in love with when you were a kid. You know, is it as cool as you thought it was now? Is it that cool? For me, it was, I was on a school bus in like 3rd grade or 5th grade, and I saw this beautiful red Mark I MR2 roll by, and super red with the T-tops off. And there were 2 dudes in there just looking like they were having the best time of their life. And that car just left a mark on my heart. And I've loved them ever since. And I've had like 2 or 3 of them. The Mark II as well. And just super cool. I love cars. I love cars so much. Still nice and tight. Still nice and tight. And these on the ends, you don't want to over tighten because these are going directly into a piece of wood. Okay. So here we are back on the top side. Is this some kind of paint? I don't know. I don't want to. It looks like it. It is. So I'm going to remove that. It looks like some latex, some enamel or something. Some interior paint for your house is what it looks like. And maybe I can get that a little bit cleaner. I don't know. I'm not going to use a harsh solvent. I'm going to try to make a point. It's okay that it looks vintage, because it is. I like amps that look vintage, but they're clean. So I may try something on this off camera. So, all right, let's tighten this old girl up. See if this is still the appropriate size. Okay. Nope. What about you? Bingo. All right. Still nice. All of these are tight. I like it. Perfect. 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 And perfect. Oh, that makes me nuts. So the washer is not aligned. So I gotta fix it. Gotta make sure the washer is directly underneath that nut, or else I'll go nuts. Awesome. There it is. There you have it. Awesome. So we have some momentary switches. You have your traditional switches there. I'm not concerned about this chemical washing over the surface. There it goes. It went from gummy to very solid. Beautiful. Beautiful. And there's no trace of residue or anything. I love this stuff. It's just such a clean product. All right, guys. Let's get down to cleaning. I'm going to go ahead and clean this cable off camera. Bye. All right, Angelo. This is the business end of your cabinet. That massive Black Shadow speaker with that ridiculous voice coil. Look at that thing. We're going to get it cleaned up. Why? Because we love these. So let's get started. I got the majority of the funk out of there already, but let's do a little detail work. Let's just bring it home. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's for a spare tube. 12AX7. And we're back here. Well, we're back here with that Mark IV cabinet. And we want to do a really nice job on this. Because we do. So I'm going to remove as much hardware as I need to. This amp is relatively clean, so doesn't need much. Doesn't need much at all. Beautiful. So get this guy cleaned up. I'm going to use an old stained shop cloth to do this. It looks funky, but it's clean. No, it's not clean now because I'm actually working on this thing. Beautiful. She doesn't need a whole lot of anything for it to look beautiful, huh? What I'm doing is I'm trying not to get the chemical into any of the the drilled out bits on the wood. I don't want that to expand and cause issues down the line. That's me being oversensitive, sure. But it's just how I feel about it. So you do what you need to do. If you're comfortable, just do you, as they say. Do your thing. Do your thing. This is very satisfying. I don't know if it's capturing anything there, but you can. Let me see if I could bring this up for you. Get some of the suds. Oh, this gets me going. That's really the only way to do it. Nothing else comes close. And you want to make sure you get these little guys. This stuff here around the margins. Good opportunity to clean out those fastener heads in case the next guy needs to tighten them up. Less chance of it stripping. Nice. Clean off the head. Wow. That made a nice difference. Love it. She's still going to have patina no matter what I do. The hardware is aging really nicely. Beautiful. Look at that. That's nice. So, same process for all the bits that are facing north. You can see right here along this edge. And what I'll do is get the bulk of it with this. And then I'll spray my chemical directly onto the head of the brush. And then we'll get all the little detail, the cracks and crevices, the crevasse, as they say in France. And I can get everything. Angelo, your lady's gonna let you bring this thing back inside, buddy. Maybe even into the living room. It's looking good. Sensual. All right, looking good. No cup washers on the back of these. Like the Blackface amps are missing cup washers on the fender line, and then they started adding them in on the Silverface amps, if I'm not mistaken. Brad, I think I saw one of your Australian Brad, one of your Princeton videos. The one that was just completely hacked. Man, that thing was butchered. And what a shame. Good Lord, what a shame. All right, let me get a new angle here. All right. Let's get this guy. This is the same material that was on the foot switch. See that? It's just coming up. I'm sure there's an OnlyFans channel somewhere out there that just shows somebody scraping paint with their fingernail. All right, so I have a plastic tool here. Probably see that. See that? My phone hates me. Anyway, that's what I kind of use for this stuff. It doesn't mark the Tolex, and it does a pretty decent job of getting the stuff out of the grooves. Thankfully, this isn't one of those old 80s Randalls or PVs that has the carpet. You know, it's a sad thing when you have to shampoo your amp. You know, she just needs a little bit of love. And I hope no one ever views this as shaming, because you know what? Musicians are busy. People are busy, especially as you transition into adulthood. My God. You don't have time for this stuff. But this is my business, so I make time for it. All right. I'm bashing my hat onto this camera mount. I'm not going to get all of it off. But I'm going to make a dent in it, so to speak. Maybe I will. The little leg lamp is shaking provocatively on the end of my bench. Very suggestive. Very suggestive. You know what's kind of been on my mind is thinking about doing like a holiday stream of a movie. Just do some holiday movies. I mean, the moment's gone for Halloween. But like some good classic cinema. You know? Like some good Christmas Vacation. Some good vintage. Some 1941. You know? So many classics. The Christmas Story. And like just stream it and just hang out. Is that sad and pathetic, or is that a good idea? This is where I am in life. Okay. So that's good enough for that. You get the handle back on. You want to see what's going on. We become a society where we work vicariously through each other. It used to be that we would just cheer for each other to make it in life. Now we sit around watching people work. That's what we're consuming now. Is there a work deficit? Or is it just kind of interesting to step inside the shoes of another dude and see the world through his eyes? I think that's it. I think the latter is true. You know, I think that's where it's at. Awesome. Now, I'm going to pass just a nice little damp cloth back here. I'm going to get that speaker sorted out. And I'm going to there's just a dust pattern around this fan, as you can imagine, that I need to sort out. And I've cleaned the impellers as best as I can, but I'm going to give it another go here. There are quieter fans to be had these days, though not a necessity. It's just not entirely necessary to go through the whole thing and get another 115 volt fan. I really don't even need this. I don't even know if I would even plug this in. I know the Mark V has an on-off switch for the fan. I'm not certain this one does. I have to look again. Yeah, this is just a better angle for me to clean at, so this is coming out a lot nicer than it was. And then the housing looks a lot better as well. And we're not going to run this while it's damp. It's barely damp now. I'm not using a wet cloth to do this because we don't want to attract more dust. We don't want to give it an opportunity to stick to anything and then start building on itself. But yeah. This is just a massive speaker, and they front mounted it obviously because it just really intrudes into the space of the cab here, the interior space. I find this to be a very neutral speaker. I prefer something with a little color to it. I initially found my friend's 412 to be a bit sterile sounding, but one man's sterile is another man's colorful, so who knows. Clean off this little spare tube clamp here, kind of cool. Really hard to find these. If yours is missing, I'm gonna have to glue this back down. The little advertisement for the suspension system for the shock mount. Sus 4. Sus has a different meaning these days. If you listen to what the kids are saying, it's another way of saying suspicious. That's sus, bro. Everything's bro. I'm actually gonna. Am I gonna do that? Yeah, I think I'm gonna. What am I talking about? Yeah, I'm gonna get this reverb tank out of the bag and just make sure everything's okay. Even though I didn't notice any issues with it prior, I just want to take a look. Because once it's been in your hands, anything that happens within the next month is your fault. You know, at least from perception. All right, so she's looking great. Nice. She's looking great. I don't know how much you can see, but she's looking... Oops, sorry about that. I don't know how much you can see, but it's really nice in there now. It's a nice place to be. So I'm going to remove this. I'll inspect the bag and its contents. And then we can move on to an actual sound check, which will be amazing. And then I'll show you how cool this little suspension system is. Bye. Angelo, it's time. It is time. Let's figure out what's going on with this guy and see what kind of progress we've made. I'll get you a nicer shot there. That's about as good as I can do. Now, I was trying to incorporate the foot switch into the shot, but I think I'll just do it this way. Let me get an overhead shot for you as she warms up. Angelo, at long last. At long last, buddy. My God. So, all the tubes had to go, all the preamp tubes. Never buy Chinese, those piston tubes again. I don't know if that's exactly what they're called, but don't buy those. Don't buy those again. Hopefully this comes out pretty clear. This is deafeningly loud. And it's actually the settings. I found the old settings that I used to run on mine back in the day. But I really like this speaker in yours. I said earlier that I thought it might sound a little sterile, and I remembered it that way. But man, I should have kept mine as a combo. So. Love it. And the rhythm too. Just lovely, dude. Let's grab the lead. Well, that's it, buddy. God love you.